Hey, Summer Whatnuts, it's Wednesday, July 10th in the United States and Canada, and this is What Chaos presented by Prize Picks. My name is DJ Bean. Sitting in that room is Pete Blackburn, and sitting in this room is Sean DePaz. Hi, boys. I miss hearing this sax. Tony Barber fucking going crazy on that thing.
I miss you, boys.
You miss my voice?
No, I said I miss you, boys. I mean, you look great, by the way. The oil man has been locked and loaded. Some would say, because that mustache is pimping.
Summer Plainview loading. Sean, many said it was they said it was loading. There was a lot of loading talk. Pete said, I say blank loading, an appropriate amount. Now Sean and I are both I had facial hair before. But
yeah, but I mean, we had a clean shave and a beard and a mustache. Now we have two mustaches. I don't know how I feel about that part, but
have you noticed the order in which it keeps happening?
How do you mean?
Like 3 months before I'm about to do just mustache, you'll do it.
I mean, I've had just mustache the entire time. It's just a matter of whether or not I keep up with shaving off this other shit.
But like, I feel like I'm kind of in your head where you're like, DJ's going to do a mustache in a few months. I should get out ahead of this.
I'm going to get...
Do you notice like you keep doing it first?
Yeah, I'm going to get dreads next.
Rent-free, Sean. I'd like to begin this show. So this is a summer episode, and we're not going to be doing all of the summer episodes live, but this is being recorded day of. Like, as soon as we're done with this thing, it goes out into the world. So this is going to be pretty much as fresh as you can be without doing it live. I would love to begin with a slate grade presented by Prize Picks to ask, what's everyone been doing? Pete, what have you been doing?
I got engaged over the weekend, which is pretty big news. It's very funny. We've been off for like 2 weeks at this point, I think. And the first week was spent dealing with COVID. Both you and I don't know if Sean, did you ever test?
Sean doesn't believe in COVID.
Not sure.
Blood deniability over there?
I didn't have symptoms at that point, and I think that's where we're at with COVID, right? Like, if you don't have symptoms, you're kind of fine.
Well, yeah, I think like you had COVID.
Well,
first.
you
probably.
You were saying like don't get the vaccine, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know how I feel about.
So don't trust that dwarf Anthony Fauci.
Yeah, you were
Lion Tony is what you called him.
Fauci's just the mouthpiece. It's all Bill Gates.
You had a lot to say about it. I remember. I can't remember if it was on or off the pod.
Probably a little bit of both.
Yeah,
going after Tony Fauci in 2024 is very funny.
Going in.
Yeah, so we've been off for 2 weeks, or like the season has been over for 2 weeks. We spent one of it just fully sick and quarantining. Then like the first day that I was out and free, got engaged, and then 2 days later I was on a plane to Chicago. Just an extremely funny sequence of events to kick off what is supposed to be the summer of Pete.
Okay, so getting engaged, I would say if we're doing a grade on that, I'm leaning A on it. Picked a good one. Yeah. Power couple. You two are the best. Love you both so much. Gonna live forever. Was gonna send you guys an edible arrangements type of thing, but instead just dropped off donuts because donuts are better, and it would be weird to have donuts delivered. So I had a lovely morning with you a couple days after the engagement, and that was amazing. I too was also very sick, but your whole summer of Pete thing, you're in Chicago right now. You're doing one of the great American cities, and one of the rare times you kind of don't want to be in Chicago. How is it over there?
It's fine. Like I'm just working. I haven't really done. I went out last night for the first time.
Like Chicago summers can be kind of miserable. How's like the weather and everything?
Oh no, Summer of Shy is like it's one of the best summer cities in the entire country.
No, like the winters and summers in Chicago are like the extremes.
Oh no, I love the summer in Chicago.
Hell yeah,
it's great. So I mean, it can be hot. It's not that bad this week. Like it's rained a little bit, but weather's been fine.
Nice.
I love summer in Chicago.
I love Chicago anytime. But yeah, so it can be sweltering there. You ever watch the show Shameless? You'll find they really just have a lot of difficulty with that heat. Sean, what have you been doing?
I've been all over the place, actually. My best friend from college, who lives in Las Vegas, is out here right now, actually. And we went to New York City for a couple of days, which ended up being a little bit of a train wreck. It was awesome, but it was also a little bit of a train wreck because Saturday night when we were supposed to head back on Amtrak canceled all the trains between New York City and Buffalo, and Boston, every single one of them. And it's like one of the most popular train routes in the United States. So everybody that was trying to get there had to find new travel plans, which means we had a very hard time finding new travel plans. So we went from taking a 7 p.m. Amtrak back to Boston to a 1 a.m. Flixbus back to Boston.
Oh, boy.
Not ideal.
Changing vibe for sure.
Yeah. We had a bunch of extra time to kill. So then we ended up going to the movies in Manhattan, watching Inside Out 2. Solid movie. Not as good as 1, but pretty good. So a good way to kill time. Was in New Hampshire Monday night to yesterday. And then went to the Sox game last night. Sox are hot.
Sox are extremely hot right now.
Sox
and
hot.
To make matters better, the Yankees are a goddamn train wreck, which makes it so much more fun. But yeah, I just kind of been all over the place.
Damn, how'd you like New Hampshire? What'd you do in New Hampshire?
My best friend is from New Hampshire, so we went up there to see his parents.
Or as we say on this show, New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. You know about New Hampshire?
No.
Well, you know about that. Pete's betrothed, Ellen, was doing a TV thing and said New Hampshire. Her accent slipped out, and
Nice.
buddy, it went viral.
Oh, yeah. I believe it.
It's gone viral like 4 times because that's how the internet works now. That
Yeah.
viral clips just get recycled every 4 months. So she's gone viral like 4 times in a year and a half.
Dude, the last couple of weeks, Bread Connect went viral again.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it seems like it goes more viral each time. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, very strange.
2 takeaways.
Yeah,
Sean, I just think that you have a bad relationship with trips to New York City. The last 2 trips to New York City you've taken have gone a little awry.
A little bit.
Then number 2, taking a trip to New York to go see a movie. Me and DJ have done it. It's amazing. It's
underrated.
That's not why we went. So like
That's
we
why
were
we
there
went.
the day before.
That's why we
and then
went. It was amazing.
I mean, hey, respect. We spent the night there. Like we hung out, went to the Bronx or the Central Park Zoo, went to the Natural Museum of History. Side note, Teddy Roosevelt, greatest American of all time. That dude is fucking badass. Like the whole thing is dedicated to him, basically. I didn't know that. They've got like quotes of him all over the place, and they're just sick as hell.
Really?
They're just like, hey, take care of nature, you loser. Like he's like such like a roughneck outdoorsman that he's like, the most important thing is that we take care of nature and the kids.
He was the one who set up the parks, right? In the national parks?
Yeah, the New Deal. The original New Deal.
Okay.
Today on a summer episode of What Chaos, Theodore Roosevelt. Not as a guest.
He rocked. He rocks. His quotes were awesome. And then the rest of the museum was pretty cool. Giant whale, giant dinosaur bones. But
let me
it
ask you
was
this.
hot
Okay,
as
sorry.
hell in New York.
Well, they say that New York summer in New York, though it is a
One of the
great
worst.
American city, people can't take the summers there.
Yeah, it was quite humid, quite hot, like in the 90s. And I walked like 15 miles on Friday in the heat. It was tough, but it was awesome.
So who is the catalyst behind like this New York trip between you and your friend? Because it sounds like you did a ton of shit. And like I think that like Sean, you're like a doing shit kind of guy. Like when you go somewhere, you wanna take in events and like have an itinerary.
Yeah, I mean the trip to like all the things we did were mostly spurred by my friend because he loves New York City for some reason. I'm okay on it. Like it's cool. There's obviously a ton of stuff to do there, but like it was mostly spurred by him.
I think I got to go to New York a couple times in the next few weeks. And honestly, all I'm thinking about is like summer in New York. Sounds crazy.
It was
sounds stressful.
Brutally hot. That part was tough.
Speaking of brutally hot, Sean, have we discussed? I don't think we've had an episode since going to the Metro Boomin show.
Oh yeah, I don't think we have.
Have we discussed that? That was a fucking wild experience. So when we were in Vegas, we went to a Metro Boomin show, and just like the experience of going to a Las Vegas nightclub was a thing that I'll do one time, and I hopefully will never do it again. But
yeah, I don't need to ever do it again unless I don't need it ever again.
We went to the Metro Boomin show, and it was at Live nightclub, and it said that doors open at 10:30 p.m. I had not thought that I had not done the math that means that we probably won't see Metro Boomin until like midnight at the earliest. But we got there, we waited in line for like an hour, and the line was so long that it went outside, and it was like 115 degrees. People were checking out left and right. And we like hit the point of no return where we were like, we're sticking this out. We're getting in. We got in. The place was like jam packed. You could not move basically whatsoever. We got a drink apiece, $28 a piece for the drink, which is fine. Whatever.
Out the door.
It's out the door.
$28 clean out the door.
We go down to the floor level. And we're on the floor like nuts to butts, just as many people as they could pack in there. And at some point, I don't think that we were supposed to be on the floor, but we got down to the floor. And at some point, they closed off the floor. So if you left, you couldn't get back. And so I had to pee like 45 minutes into this experience. And I could not go to the bathroom because it meant that I wasn't getting back to the boys. So holding that bladder. And Metro Boomin did not get on stage until Sean, what, like 1:30 a.m.?
Yeah, 1:30. Yeah. We were there with the Edition boys too, which was fun. That part was fun.
I mean, it was great. Like, I mean, and it was great people watching. Like the entire Buffalo Bills defense was there. Which was Von insane. Miller was there. It was wild. There was some wild shit going on. I think that there was a guy from like Selling Sunset who had like a booth all to himself and his wife, and they were just like grinding and shit. It was a wild scene. It was fun. But I was like dead tired. And by the time Metro Boomin even got on stage, I was like ready to go home. And then we didn't leave until 4 a.m. Motherfucker.
Yeah, I feel like, Pete, you went to that. So I famously did not go to that. I didn't know yet that it was COVID, but I was like, yo, something is wrong here. And I just thought that we were just all sick from exhaustion. If I weren't so clearly deliriously exhausted, you would have been the most exhausted one. Like you would have been noticeably exhausted among us. I'm not speaking for you. Like you went out of like, I have to go do something. I can't do this whole trip without, because we went out the first night in Florida. But other than that, we were just fucking grinding and not sleeping and working and everything. Easy call for me to not go to that. It sucks. I would have loved to. Sean, you said that it was a good show.
Yeah, I mean, it was. Metro has hits. Like,
right. That's the thing. Like, you're just gonna hear every song you like.
Yeah, there were more songs that I wish he would have played. Like, he played bangers, and also like definitely a main character moment when the entire Bills defense was there. I was just like this entire event was made for me. But no, I mean, it was like fun. The funniest part to me was that he like was basically refusing to play BBL Drizzy and like a bunch of people were holding up their phones saying play BBL Drizzy. And he's like, I wasn't going to play this shit anymore, but y'all keep holding up your phones. So here you go.
I wasn't going to do this, but then you asked me to, and now I have no choice.
Yeah. So then he played it, but it kind of seems like Metro was kind of being like, I'm over this a little bit, unlike Kendrick.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was awesome. It was cool hanging out with the Edition guys. and
Yeah,
go to
look,
pizza.
I had a
Pizza
great
Washington's
time.
Insane.
I had a very good time, but like I think by 2 a.m. I was just like Joe Biden out there, fucking just swaying back and forth, just trying to stay awake.
I definitely like. I think when Metro got on, I was like, cool. But I think for like when it hit midnight, that hour and a half that we were waiting for him, I was just like, Jesus, I don't know about all this, because it was just a lot. Like you said, butts to nuts. There's a lot. It was a lot. We ended up making our way up the floor basically and getting basically right in front of the stage, which was cool, I guess. But it was a lot of pushing and shoving.
To tie up this this lovely slate grade, my bout with COVID was so bad. Obviously, people famously have had worse bouts with COVID. Spoilers, but this was unlike any of the previous 2 times I've had COVID, and with being a 3 COVID guy, I feel like history is going to look back on me as some sort of like party animal. Like at what number of COVID do people just assume like, oh, he was probably going out during quarantine? Because I fucking wasn't. I was like locked the fuck down, yelling at people who were going out. And I've just had COVID a million times anyway. Thanks to the jab, I've lived through it. But this last round of COVID, man, folks, do not get the Florida version.
Yeah, just don't go to Florida, man.
Of whatever this round of COVID is. I had a headache so bad that I still have, but it's not that bad anymore. I'm pounding like heavy duty naproxen, whatever the like Aleve is.
Ivermectin.
It's like a heavy duty version of that.
Ivermectin.
Yes. Wasn't Trump saying like bleach?
Well, yeah. I mean, ivermectin was like the horse dewormer. That was like the big, that side of the aisle.
That was Joe
theory.
Rogan's
but
push,
then,
right?
Yeah. But
right.
But bleach, he did at one point suggest injecting bleach.
But folks, no joke. We ended up squeezing out one episode that I was like, we should clip a couple of things from it. And I went back and neither of us were really on our game, but I was like, holy fuck. I'm just an absolute dead person. But I'd say like I no longer have COVID. I'm at, I would say 70%, which feels like $1 million compared to where I was. But I looked it up. I was like, why do I still have this headache? And it was like, oh yeah, you're going to have that headache for months. So by the time the next hockey season starts, I hope to be at 100%. I've been hammering movies though. When I was sick, I watched The Idea of You with Anne Hathaway.
I made it like 20 minutes into that movie and I quit.
It looks so bad.
Bad movie.
So bad.
So bad.
It sucks though. I threw out a kind of baity tweet and people responded to it, but they didn't take the bait. I was like, all right, watched The Idea of You with Anne Hathaway. Like not the worst thing in the world. Like it was better than the Anyone But You. It shouldn't have been 3 hours and 20 minutes long.
Jesus, I didn't know it was that long.
So that was the bait. God. I was waiting for someone to be like, it was 300, and I was going to say like, no, it shouldn't, because like, it shouldn't have been.
It's goddamn Lord of the Rings. What the hell?
But people responded to all the other stuff, and I wanted so badly to at least get one person on like, it wasn't. Why would they have made it 3 hours?
Clearly would have got me if I had been on my phone.
I saw Kinds of Kindness once I was able to go to the theaters. Yorgos just fucking cooking. It's the weirdest movie in the world, but Yorgos is going to give you that. Shout out Jesse Plemons. Unbelievable performance. As always, there's a dance sequence. That's great. Despicable Me 4, way better than Minions: The Rise of Gru. Did
you dress up as a minion?
What's that? I was thinking, I was like, where are the Gentle Minions? What happened to that? What you know about the Gentle Minions?
I don't know. I feel like I've missed the last couple of Minions movies.
So there was a craze where dudes were dressing up very nice to go to see Minions.
Oh, I think I do.
And they were
remember
wearing suits, but then they started misbehaving and they were starting mosh pits during the Minions of the Rise of Gru. So then people, if you showed up as a Gentle Minion, they like tossed you before the movie even started, even if you didn't start a mosh pit.
That's the single craziest, like, welcome to the 21st century thing of all.
Moshing
as like dressed up as a gentleman for DreamWorks or whatever
That has
minions.
real Purge vibes to me.
Yes.
In the original Purge movie, a lot of people there are like prep school kids who are going around purging. That shit I don't
Purge
like.
is like a rich person thing. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. Oh, the Purge movie ended up having societal commentaries that like in prequels kind of took 2020 information. And I was like, yo, this is supposed to be set in 2015.
Yeah.
Get out of here. And then last night I saw Maxine, the end of that trilogy. Not the best movie. Not even a
I heard it
particularly
wasn't
good
great.
movie. But it didn't tank I would still recommend it. It didn't tank the whole trilogy. So that's fine.
Is it third out of 3?
Like
Maxine, Pearl, and X.
So order-wise, it
Yeah, I know that it's the third one.
No, but I'm saying like chronologically, it goes Pearl, X.
Yeah, it's still the
and
third
then
one though.
Maxine. I would rank it the third of the 3, kind of by far.
Okay.
X is the only one that I'll like keep watching. I'll never be able to watch Pearl again. Pearl is one of the most shocking movies I've ever seen. It just fucks
Pearl
me.
wasn't really for me.
But I know people who love Pearl.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciated Pearl more once I saw X, because I saw Pearl first, which was a bad decision by me. Even though it was like,
chronologically.
even though, I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, even though I kind of watched it in chronological order, it was just harder to appreciate and understand Pearl when I hadn't seen X yet.
First Star Wars movie I saw was Episode 1.
I respect that.
Going in order.
I've only seen
that's everybody's favorite, though.
I know. The guy, Jar Jar Binks, what's he always saying? Misa
rocks.
Jar Jar Binks. And everyone's like, Jar Jar, there's that boy. What up, Jar Jar? The whole thing
I
is
started
just about
watching
Jar Jar.
Shoresy. Watching Shoresy. It's very stupid, but it's very funny.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it quite a bit. So I guess I'm a Shoresy guy now.
Hell yeah.
Thanks. Do you get to watch any of the Bear yet?
Oh, yeah. Well, whole thing.
Yeah, I don't
like
it.
Sick.
I'm still one episode. I have one episode left, but they didn't do anything. The fucking the narrative, the plot has not been advanced one bit.
Yes, nothing fucking happened. And the first episode was such a fucking fever dream that when you watch it with an actual fever, it's you're like, is this fucking me? What's going on here?
I think that is a fair criticism. I like it a lot just because I think it is like each episode is like its own kind of piece of art. Like they do a lot of character, I don't want to say development, but like backstory explanation kind of thing. It definitely seemed like a little bit of a bridge season to set you up for whatever's going to happen in season 4.
I will say, possibly
they filmed 3 and 4 at the same time, which is why I'm a little like, okay, so it feels like they wasted some bullets in a way. Like, I get what you're saying, Sean. Like, but that's what they did in season 2. Like, you're describing season 2, and season 2 was one of my favorite seasons of television in recent memory because they did it so well. And like the quote unquote, like, not the bottle episodes, but like the character exposition episodes that they did in season 2 were so good. And like even the one with Tina this season, I felt like dragged on and wasn't great. And it like,
I like that episode.
You take a little
that episode too. I just love
it wasn't bad. Like, I think it was necessary for Tina, but maybe it just took a little wind out of the sails knowing how it ends. You know that she ends up at the restaurant and with that job. So like doing 45 minutes of her searching for a job got a little frustrating to me.
But it shows you why it means so much to these people, because there's points where you're watching season 1 and you're like, yo, quit.
Just quit. Yeah.
That's like, that shit
right.
sucks.
There's no reason that Tina should still be at that restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now you understand why.
Yeah, that's what I appreciate. And I think, like you said, they shot the seasons back to back. So I think essentially this is just one long season of, like, I'm curious to see when they drop the next season. But I think
do you think that Cousin was being nice, or do you think that he saw an opportunity to get a new customer by giving her the sandwich?
He was just being nice.
I think.
I thought it was like this person's lost. Let's get her.
I think it was just I have a sandwich. Get the fuck out of my way kind of thing. Like.
How do we get this person done with this?
She was just there, and they had a sandwich to get rid of, and they were like, "Here you go," and the coffee's on me.
I think that he was taking the sandwich away from somebody else.
Yeah,
and I think that
because they
she
weren't
was just the first person that he saw and was like, "You get it."
And
so
she ordered a coffee, and it was just like
it's just
coffee.
so clearly
Just take
lost by going in there and ordering coffee. But I liked it. I loved the scene that she had with John Bernthal. I gotta say, it's possible. The argument could be made that our guy Chris Witaski, who plays Pete, is 3 for 3 on best scenes of the series. Best scenes.
He plays
of each
his
season.
character so well.
He's unbelievable. Like he was one of my few parts of this season where I had no notes and I was like, this is like a 10 out of 10 thing that has not suffered at all. His scene in season 1
I've seen that.
with the like Bustin makes me feel good, and then they're talking behind his back about him being a cop, or like they feel like he's always going to call the police on them. Great scene. Season 2, obviously, he has the big serious scene with Jamie Lee Curtis that is amazing. My favorite scene of this series was why can't I think of Sydney? Sydney brings all the food when Sugar has the kid. And he just doesn't fucking understand that
dumb as hell.
He shouldn't be making food when people are sleeping because people are going to be able to smell it. And he keeps asking about like, would the soup be quieter? And she's like, oh, it's not really. He's incredible.
Not a noise thing. It's so fucking funny. I forgot.
That was my favorite scene of the whole season. And I was like, fucking Witaski, man.
Pete, you said you had the last episode.
That episode 9, with the Jamie Lee Curtis and like Sugar having the baby. That episode was tremendous.
Hated it.
Yeah. What?
Hated
Jamie
it.
Lee
Really?
Curtis rocks.
She's the best. She's excellent. But I was like, it just made me so fucking uncomfortable. And they're clearly going for that. But I was like,
right.
Yo, there's no way Sugar doesn't actually kill her mom.
Yeah,
here.
I mean, that part was a little like, estranged mom, and you like, she just shows up and everything.
Estranged mom porn, I would say, is what it was.
But like she just shows up and everything's kind of cool. Like, I don't know about all that. But you said you have the last episode left, right, Pete?
Yeah.
I think my favorite scene is in that episode.
Ooh. Oh, I mean, it's a good episode.
It's a very good episode.
I will say, though, one of the, I hate this term, one of the needle drops in that last episode was very surprising to me. There's a party scene, and they play a song that I'm like, The Bear, you're better than this. You're usually playing like Counting Crows deep cuts. Although they played
Last Train Home in season 1, and I was like, buddy, now this is my favorite show of all time. Is season 1 or season 2 when they played Last Train Home? And I was like, I think
Needle
Last
Drop
Train Home
City
is entering the lexicon of like pop culture.
Needle Drop City.
I do also like when all the facts show up.
Oh,
John
too
Cena.
many. No. Oh,
There was too much fact stuff.
Yes,
No, that's
Pete.
funny
Yes,
to me.
Peter.
The
Good
facts
job.
are just absolute chaos. They're the dumbest people ever.
The
and
haunting
John
thing-
Cena shows up.
the haunting thing made
they're
me
John
so fucking
Ralphioing
mad.
it. They're John Ralphioing it, where they're like, they realize that they have something good and then they're overplaying it way too much. Although I will say, I do like the increased presence of the second fact.
Yes, I agree.
That guy rules. Having both facts in them, like obviously everybody loves Matty Matheson and he wasn't going anywhere, but having that second fact in, that guy rocks. And I can't remember his name, but like just keep them in. I don't need fucking John Cena. I don't need all the other relatives. Like they're just doing too much, overexposing the facts.
It's one episode.
I wrote down.
They bring in a new
notes.
family member like 3 separate episodes.
I wrote down 2 notes about this season on my phone. The first is get John Cena and Computer out of my life. Fuck Computer.
Yeah, fuck Computer.
I like
But that's
Computer.
why he's there. He's there for you to hate him.
Like, what do you do?
Right.
You're wearing a fucking Raiders. Like the whole aesthetic is just.
He does have a weird like European soccer coach kind of vibe.
Get Computer out of there.
Yeah, but he's designed to be a villain. He's designed to be like a hurdle to clear, and I like him.
Then my other note was best scene, Sydney bringing Pete the food, which it just fucking was.
I did love Uncle Jimmy being like, "Why don't you take a long walk off a pier and then go fuck yourself?"
Good Uncle Jimmy season. I
Yeah,
like their.
I agree, Uncle Jimmy.
At some point, they needed to introduce I won't spoil it, but they needed to introduce him having the issue that he's having.
Yes,
because
I would agree with that.
It raises the stakes, and this show is nothing without stakes.
I'm just happy. I guess there's a little bit of spoiler, but not really. The sandwich
they
window
serve
is
more
back.
than steaks.
I'm glad that the sandwich window is back, because my entire time for the last couple of like as they've been doing this restaurant, I was just like, did they just say fuck all the locals? Like, there was a bunch of working class people that were coming there for the sandwiches.
They gentrified themselves,
and they did it. Yeah, they gentrified themselves, and they said, you guys can go fuck yourselves. And I was just like, are they just going to ignore that forever? And then they brought it back, and I like that.
All right, well, there's some goods and some bads. Before we hit our first ad read, I'll go around the NHL for 1 second.
Oh yeah, this is a hockey podcast. Fuck.
Blue Jackets, get a coach.
No.
Please, I want to love you so bad.
It is Wednesday, July 10th in the United States and Canada. Get a coach. You have to get a coach. This is Blue Jackets get a coach.
They don't have to.
Blue Jackets get a coach is the new.
They have to have a coach.
Blue Jackets get a coach is the new Panthers go to Edmonton. Like, you have to do it.
No, they don't. They don't have to. There's no law saying they need a coach.
I mean, the last time they hired a coach, it didn't go well, so why do it again?
No, that's true.
They're a little shell-shocked.
They're learning from their mistakes.
Yeah, just can't fire a coach before the season starts if you don't hire a coach before the season starts.
And also can't have a coach for like 3 days during the preseason if you don't hire the coach until like 2 days before the preseason.
Yeah, exactly. You just don't give them enough time to fuck up.
They're just trying to make this coach the longest tenured coach as possible. No, but then you would just fucking hire the Blue Jackets. I'm sorry. I like some of the machinations we're cooking up here, but no. Hire a coach. Get Todd McClellan. I know he's available. Just get a coach. You have to get a coach. It's my number one take.
It is
for
very
today.
funny that like the entire league fired its coach, and everybody has long had a coach except for the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Hey, I mean, also,
what are we doing?
You can't make mistakes if you don't have options. Just like, we can't hire Lindy Ruff if Lindy Ruff already has a job.
Get Don Granato. Get it.
No.
He's a coach. Just get.
No.
Don
Granato would be good for like
McClellan.
a year. Don Granato could do what he did 2 years ago at the Buffalo Sabres, where he got guys to kind of overperform a little bit, bring the Tage out of some guys, and then the next year they'll all talk about how boring practice is.
I mean, I've got some Sabres shit I want to hit with you anyway, Sean. How you feeling about your we're going to do in this episode, we're going to go and discuss some, I'll say, non-obvious favorite off seasons, because I would say the Oilers we've discussed and the Predators kind of go without saying. And I would say the Oilers and Predators are at both ends of the spectrum of nailing the offseason spending wise. The Oilers didn't spend a lot and they had a great offseason so far, and the Predators spent a lot and got a lot of guys, and there's a lot of teams in between that we're gonna pick through. But Sean, how you feel about your Sabres?
You mean the bottom six all-stars? There's the Oilers, who have like top six players playing in their bottom six, and then there's the Sabres, who have like the best bottom six players playing on their top six. I don't know what the hell they're doing. I don't know what's going on.
Don't sleep on that Ryan McLeod trade. Everyone hates that trade so much for the Sabres. He's a 24-year-old player who is fast as shit. And
yeah, that's all good.
Will probably get you 15 goals next season.
I don't necessarily have a problem with the McLeod trade. I just have a problem with them not really improving their team.
It's with McLeod being like their big get.
Problem that you should. Yeah, the problem should be McLeod being their big get, but also what they gave up for him. They gave up a very high ceiling prospect.
Yeah,
and to me, you don't trade that guy until you're sure that he's not something. And I don't think that you can be sure that Matt Savoy is not something yet.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that in doing that, though, we act like McLeod isn't 24, cheap, 24.
Yeah, but I mean,
yeah, but what's
lottery
his ceiling? Like, what is McLeod's ceiling?
McLeod was a top 40 pick.
My biggest thing is just like, if you're trading prospects, you're pretty clearly being like, we're trying to win right now, which they obviously kind of have to do. They spend a bunch of money on their young players. Like, they kind of need to start making the playoffs.
This I think helps them. This I think
I don't think this puts them any closer to making the playoffs than they were last year.
Well, buying out Jeff Skinner, their roster is a little worse.
Their roster's worse.
I'm
You're
more
without
bullish.
Casey Middlestat. Their forward group is significantly worse. Like you lose Casey Middlestat, Jeff Skinner, and you don't really replace those guys.
Their problem last year was that all their scoring disappeared.
Yeah,
and they didn't do anything to address that.
Well, if you're trying to do some replacing of people and or hiring, let me tell you about Indeed. We're driven by the search for better. When it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/AllCity. Just go to Indeed.com/AllCity right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
And if you want to have a good time, you need Lucy Nicotine, because Lucy is a real favorite of Sean and I's. We like to have fun and pop in a Lucy and let that baby fly. It's 100% pure nicotine. It's always tobacco free. It's available in pouches, gum, and breakers. Breakers are those little pouches. You put them in. It's got a capsule of liquid flavor inside that helps saturate the pouch. Breakers are available in 4 milligram or 8 milligram. They also come in a bunch of different flavors that are delicious, like mint, berry citrus, espresso, and the pouches go all the way up to 12 milligrams. So if you're looking to party, pack a pouch. If you're not a pouch guy or gal, the gum is available in 2, 4, and 6 milligrams. So, just that light little touch, that light little buzz, which is nice. We love Lucy. It's delicious. It's subtle. I think that's my favorite part, is that I don't like getting too much of a head rush. I don't like being dizzy. I don't like that kind of stuff. So the smaller Lucy, smaller end of the spectrum, it's just a nice little buzz to make you feel good. And so, big fan of Lucy. And if you want to try them, level up your nicotine routine with Lucy. Go to lucy.co/whatchaos and use promo code whatchaos to get 20% off your first order. Lucy offers free shipping and has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. That's lucy.co and use code whatchaos to get 20% off and always free shipping. And now here's the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine, and nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Let's talk about some good, bad, cool, weird off seasons. As I mentioned, Predators kind of go without saying. They loaded up. Oilers go without saying. They got Henrique back, signed a bunch of guys, and we've talked about those two teams a little bit, and we'll talk about them more later at some point. But let's talk about some other ones, some favorites, some least favorites. Top of my list for favorite, great job, whatever. Utah's draft weekend was amazing for me. Absolutely loved them trading for Sergachev, loved them trading for John Marino, and then they take T.J. Ginla. Sean, I know that you're a Coyotes guy, and we're all Coyotes guys to some extent. You're going to see the Utah Yetis, whatever they are, the Utah nameless team, be a lot better next year. They missed the playoffs by a bajillion points. I don't think that they're necessarily a playoff team, but you look at that team, and specifically that defense, and you're like, damn, respect, tip the cap. What do you think of Utah?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, they're at least icing a respectable team, and they're putting together like a core. I think this was a core summer, like a core building summer. The Sergachev deal, nobody saw coming, I don't think. And I love that deal for them. Obviously, so it depends on how healthy Sergachev is. And, I know that he came back for the playoffs, but I would say that he probably wasn't ready. And I think it more speaks to how lowly I think of Tampa's summer, and we can get to that in a little bit. But the other end of the spectrum, like Utah, I think that Utah with T.J. Ginla and Mikhail Sergachev, like you're adding 2 core pieces, assuming that Iginla is who we think that he's going to be. But like they wanted to make a splash. I know they wanted to make a splash this summer to like drum up fan interest, to put together a respectable year 1 product, and I think they did a good job.
The only thing with Sergachev where people could have seen it coming was he was about to get his rights. He was about to get his because he's 26 years old. I believe he was about to turn 27, or this July 1 was where he would have accrued the experience or whatever to have whatever no trade or no movement is in his deal kick in. So it was like the point of, if you're going to trade him at some point, try to do it now. But man, I hated that trade for the Lightning.
I don't see why they would have had like, we got to trade this guy on their mind, though. That's my thing. They just gave him that extension, and like he's their most important piece long term on the blue line. Like now, obviously they have the Hedman contract extension, but like Sergachev was supposed to be like next man up. And I think they abandoned that for whatever reason, whether it was just to free up money, whether it was they didn't like what they saw health-wise, didn't like what they saw in terms of his development. I don't know, but it was surprising to me.
Yeah, as soon as that trade happened, I was like, they must think he's broken forever and that he's only going to play 10 more games a season. But you look at it from Utah's perspective, that back end now, they've got 3 really good defensemen back there. Durzi, Marino, Sergachev. They're nothing to sneeze at. Offensively, there's a lot to be desired, but Cooley's going to be a year older. Josh Doan probably going to get a full NHL season. I have no idea if TJ Ginla is making the jump this season. I would expect probably not, right? Like, probably I know that they took him, 5th, 6th overall or whatever, but typically that's in the range where maybe they go back for another year of junior or whatever. There's no rush there. I do wonder how much of that was he's near the top of our list and also publicity. I'm totally okay with that because it's the Gunnar Wolf Fontaine rule, where if somebody with a name, whether it's a cool sounding name or the bloodlines of an NHL legend and a Hall of Famer is there, you better be positive that guy fucking stinks when you pass on him. So when people were talking about Iginla he'll slide to the Flames.
If not even further.
And then there was even some scuttlebutt that maybe he falls even further than that. I was like, I wouldn't be that GM. I'd be like, yo, fucking fire me. I took TJ Ginla and I was wrong. The fucking horror of thinking Jerome Iginla's son was going to be amazing. I think that is like a fireproof kind of selection. Love that Utah made it. Would have liked him for the Flames, but Utah, watch out for my guys.
And as far as Utah goes, I feel like people are forgetting that Clayton Keller is like a year removed from having a franchise record season. He had almost had a 90-point season immediately after breaking his leg and having no offseason. Like he didn't play during the offseason. He showed up for the regular season and then had a record-setting performance.
Also, like, don't underestimate the power of good vibes. Like the Coyotes team just has not had good vibes around it for years at this point. And I'm not saying that that's why the team has not been good. Like, obviously they didn't have a great product a couple of years ago. It was like one of the worst ice teams that we could have imagined. But like, vibes are going to be very good in Utah, and they're going to be taken care of. And like, the facilities are going to be pretty good. The interest is going to be there. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that had a real effect on the team in terms of motivation, in terms of just like wanting to be at the rink every day, like wanting to put their best foot forward. That stuff could matter.
The entire roster got a change of scenery.
Yeah. And let's not forget U.S. Thanksgiving last year, they were right around the playoffs.
Yes.
And Connor Ingram was amazing last year. They still don't have a backup goalie. But like, if Connor Ingram is what he was last year, maybe even a little better, like they have pretty solid goaltending. They have I think a respectable top line with Keller, Schmaltz, Cooley, like however you want to mix that up. Like they have some solid offensive players.
Are we talking ourselves into watch out for the Utahs? Are we talking ourselves
I would say
into
playoffs not out of the question.
I would say they are comparable to the Buffalo Sabres offensively and goaltending wise. I just think that what the Sabres have in young defensemen is significantly better. But I don't think that those two teams are that far apart, which makes me very sad.
So tell you what, this might even be underselling it. I'm going to start them off on In the Hunt watch. And I think that is an easy place for them to be and stay for the season, which if you don't listen to our show, there's In the Hunt, there's Playoff Bubble, there's all these. If you're on In the Hunt watch, it means that there's a possibility you could be in the hunt. And in the hunt doesn't necessarily mean you make the playoffs, but like the Eastern Conference had 1 million teams in the hunt last year. This is a team that I will say I'm starting them off on In the Hunt watch, where if they win 5 of their first 7 games, we're looking around and we're saying, maybe not this, but something like this.
I'll also say I think they have a top 5 coach in the NHL. I love Andre Torini, and I think he's amazing at his job. And I think you could have made the argument that I'm confused my years. Last year or the year before, could have won Jack Adams. I think he's just very good at his job, very good at developing young players. So
watch out for Utah. They're on In the Hunt watch. My second favorite offseason, I would say, again, other than like the obvious ones, Nashville, Edmonton doesn't count because there's like literally nothing to not like about it. The Devils, man. The Devils. I love them getting Brett Pesce. Sheldon Keefe, nothing to sneeze at. Jacob Markstrom, they have the goalie. Their defense not only is getting better, their defense is getting so much better because their biggest move of the offseason is a healthy Dougie Hamilton. Hamilton's going to be back next season, and you have Brett Pesce. You continue to import basically the Carolina Hurricanes blue line, and you do it in front of a good goaltender with a new coach who should feel motivated and will make the playoffs with that team. Like I would say they're a shoo-in for the playoffs, but they have righted their wrongs, I think, pretty strongly.
Buddy, not only are they a shoo-in for the playoffs, they currently sit as the second best favorites in the Eastern Conference to win the Stanley Cup. Behind the Florida Panthers, the New Jersey Devils are the second favorite in the Eastern Conference, which I think might be an overcorrection a little bit.
You sure about that?
It does speak to don't forget about the Devils. Don't forget about how good the Devils were 2 years ago. And I think for a number of reasons, you can kind of throw last year in the trash, but the things that they needed to correct from last year, they have absolutely corrected, and then some heading into this season. You get a new coach. I really like Sheldon Keefe for that group. I didn't love Sheldon Keefe in Toronto, but I think that, when you look at specifically like Bruce Cassidy wasn't that good in his first coaching job, and I think he learned a lot from it. I think Sheldon Keefe is going to be really good in New Jersey, and he's going to carry over the things that he did well in Toronto to New Jersey. So I love that. I mean, you said the biggest move was getting Dougie Hamilton back. I think it's a 1A, 1B situation. If I had to put like a 1B, like Markstrom is their big move of the offseason, because even if Dougie Hamilton came back, if they ran back that goaltending situation, they would be so fucked. They just didn't get any saves. They didn't get any. They were worse than the Hurricanes last year. Like, they didn't get a single fucking save. Like, the Hurricanes had okay goaltending. The Devils had actively bad goaltending. And now you get Jacob Markstrom, who I love. I think Jacob Markstrom's ceiling is very high, can be one of the best goaltenders in the entire NHL. So, like, they added Stefan Nason as well. Like, they improved their bottom 6. They improved their defense, their blue line. They vastly improved in net. They improved behind the bench. I really, really like the Devils to be a team that makes a massive jump. And, even to what they were 2 years ago, I think they're going to be a much better team.
I think that starting them off as second favorites to win the cup out of the East is crazy. And as you said, an overcorrection. But
But also,
it takes away the like don't sleep on the Devils card.
Also, who would you put above them? Like, look at the East. Obviously, the Florida Panthers, and you said they're tied for second.
They are no, they're just straight up second. It's the Panthers, the Devils, and the Hurricanes, and then the Rangers and the Leafs.
So
I mean,
so many teams in the East got worse.
Yeah, exactly. Like you could argue that
Tampa worse, Boston worse,
Carolina worse.
Do you think Boston got worse?
I don't think Boston did not get worse.
Will we, or we'll say close, marginally better, or whatever. Like I don't even know if I believe that they're worse. But we could talk about the Bruins now. Like they subtracted what made them finish high in the standings. Like the reason why the Bruins were always going to be either the Atlantic Division winner or second place, something like that, is because every game you'd say, yeah, they're probably going to win. Why? Because you have the Vezina winner in net. Why? Because you have an all-star in net. And they no longer have that. They're going to play Swayman a lot more. But what made them a great regular season team is now gone. They've made themselves a better playoff team, I will say, but who knows how they end up shaking out standing wise. Are they going to be the second best team in the Atlantic again? Will they win the Atlantic? Will they be a 3 seed there? Will they be a wild card team? They're better positioned for the playoffs because they have multiple centers now for the first time.
So
and they can probably play Pavel Zacha on the wing, but they still need, I'll tell you what, man, they still need Matthew Poitras to be a guy so they can play Pavel Zacha at first line left wing or second line left wing or whatever, or you need Merkulov or somebody, one of these forwards to stick, because losing Jake DeBrusk, I know that no Bruins fans are sad about that, but you didn't have centers. You really didn't have centers, but you also didn't have wings. Now you kind of have centers and you don't have wings. So you've kind of robbed Peter to pay Paul there.
I mean, so I agree with specifically one point you made there, which was that like they're going to probably be a worse regular season team, but they are going to be a much better playoff team. And I think that they're going to get into the playoffs, and once they get there, they are much better positioned to win in the playoffs, having two solid top 6 centers in Elias Lindholm and Charlie Coyle. And yeah, like the wings aren't great, but you don't win on the wing, like especially in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and that's why I hate the Tampa Bay Lightning's offseason, because they are building their team around strong wings, and we'll get to them in a second. But like, you can only play one goaltender in the playoffs, and you can talk all you want about like the goalie rotation and all that, but as we've seen over the past 2 years, like the Bruins just aren't going to do that. They're not going to rotate in the playoffs because somebody's going to seize the net, or they're just going to give the net to somebody. So you may as well subtract that, be a worse regular season team, and build a better playoff team. And Lindholm, I really like his two-way game. He's going to be a good playoff player. And I love the edge that Zadorov brings to the blue line. Like, he's not the best defenseman, but the size and the toughness and the meanness that he brings to their blue line is so necessary. Like Charlie McAvoy, Hampus Lindholm, Brandon Carlo, Mason Lohrei, a really good group to have on your blue line, but they're soft. Like there's not enough meanness in that group for a defensive core. And getting Zadorov, I think, adds an element that they absolutely needed. And do I love the contracts that they gave out to each one of them? No, not really, but you have to pay to get the players.
Lindholm,
and the Bruins are in a spot where they kind of had to pay.
The Lindholm, I think that both those contracts really are fine. You're going to roll your eyes at points with the term on Zadorov, because he's, for all the things we love about him, like, he's just not a fucking great player. But Boston fans, as we said, will absolutely love him. I still don't know how I feel about 91 on him, but it's fun for me.
It's fun.
It's fun for like a menacing player to wear such an electric number. Yeah.
But he's I feel like it fits his big frame for some reason.
Interesting. He does have a big frame. Lightning offseason, you mentioned, they downgraded on the wing. They swapped out Sergachev and Stamkos for Gensel and Zemgus Girgensons. Another loss, Sean. Apologies.
That one actually does kind of make me sad. He's a Sabres legend.
That one you do feel?
The Latvian locomotive, bro.
I mean, he was on the list of one of my favorite topics, surprising lifers.
Yeah. He was the longest tenured Sabre for by a lot. Because I think Casey Middlestat was second behind him before they traded him.
Crazy.
And no,
I mean, they also added Cam Atkinson, by the way. I know Cam Atkinson's not much at this point in his career, but he might play in their top 6, which is that's an indictment of where the Tampa Bay Lightning are. I don't know. I don't know if they downgraded on the wing. Steven Stamkos is
better than Stamkos is better than Gensel.
Gensel's really good.
Gensel is really good, and he's shown that he can do it without Sidney Crosby. We'll see how he does it with Braden Point. I mean, Jake Gensel is a bloody great player. You heard my spiel
at this
last
stage
week
of their careers
about the Stamkos.
At this stage of their
aspect
careers,
it,
with the but at this stage of their careers and the contracts that they got, I think that I'd take Gensel over Stamkos. If I had to pick one.
Plus a 3rd round pick, and you have to get rid of Mikhail Sergachev to sign him. Ugh.
No, definitely not. I'm just saying, in a vacuum, those contracts, those players, I'm probably taking Jake Gensel.
They just did so much to end up with this result. I'm like, man, I
know, that's the thing.
And I hate building teams around wings. I yelled at them for doing it last week. And for some reason, it wouldn't feel like they were doing that if they brought back Stamkos, because it would just be like, it's our captain. We're giving him $8 million for 4 years, whatever. I still might end up liking this. I would not be shocked. This will be a little hot takey. I won't be shocked if this Stamkos contract ends up being better than the Gensel contract, because I'll tell you what, Stamkos is going to go the fuck off next season. He is going to shove it up their ass as best he possibly can. Yeah, this past year was a contract year, but this year is the fuck you, both fucking double fingers, check them out right here. After all I gave you, you fucking basically kicked me to the curb. This was not an insurmountable contract for them to potentially give him. I think he's going to go crazy next year. He'll have a better season than Gensel, I can promise you that.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask. I don't know about that, because I think that Gensel's playing on much better line. Yeah, he's playing on maybe one of the best lines in hockey. That could be
Point Kucherov,
the best line in hockey. Point Kucherov, Gensel. That is going to be a 3-headed monster, and they are going to produce like crazy.
Last week you said the best line in hockey was Skinner, Draisaitl, Arvidsson. Are you revising that declaration?
I did not say that.
It could be, man. What if that line is fucking crazy? What if Arvidsson is healthy and both
Arvidsson's such a hit or miss player?
Big time. I like they took the swing there, especially when you have more of a sure thing with Jeff Skinner, even if he's really streaky. But what if all 3 players on that line score 40 goals?
That would be amazing. I don't see it happening. I definitely could see Jeff Skinner scoring 40 goals. I could absolutely see Jeff Skinner scoring 40 goals. I do not think that Victor Arvidsson is going to score 40 goals.
I'd like to talk about what I think is the coolest offseason. You know where I'm going with this, just from personal text.
I sure do.
Washington Capitals, I fucking love that you went out, collected a bunch of outcasts, people in contracts that nobody wanted, and then just a few days ago was like, oh shit, let's get a general manager. Love the behavior. Love the behavior. They took on PLD from the Kings at the beginning of that horrible contract. Andrew Mangiapane for a 2nd round pick. Sneaky good trade, maybe. Who knows? It's the type of thing that the Capitals are doing right now. Logan Thompson, he wanted out of Vegas. Sure, bring him in here. And Jacob Chychrun. What a collection. They got all the guys that we said, well, where the fuck is this guy going to go? They all went to the Capitals. I love it for my guys. And they're going to add to this group. They got Sonny Milano and they got a 5 bajillion-year-old Alex Ovechkin. I have no fucking idea where this goes for my guys, but I'm excited to find out.
Zero idea, but they're at least interesting, and at least I know some of the players on the team now. Like I learned a few players from the Washington Capitals last year, but overall, it was a general collection of, well, who the fuck is that guy? And it was just like a lot of Hershey Bears, and that worked because their coach was the former coach of the Hershey Bears and had relationships with those guys, and it kind of worked, but. I don't know. I'm looking at their roster now, and they've got guys that I recognize, and they got guys that I'm interested in, and I do like the element of, well, nobody fucking wanted you, boys. Come here, and let's show them something. Because if you don't think that, like, PLD and Jacob Chikrin are entering this year, knowing that, like, over the next few years, if they don't show up, get ready to learn KHLanese, boys, because holy fuck. These guys,
there's a team this year that is just wearing black jerseys that say the city name because they don't have a team and they're new and they're figuring everything out. If you were to look at every roster in the NHL, you would point to Washington's and say, there was an expansion draft. They look like the end result of an expansion draft. They look like Alex Ovechkin was a free agent. They were a new team, signed him to a bad contract because they were like, you know what, we're kind of doing the Brooklyn Nets thing of 2013 or whenever it was. We just need to have the big names. We're moving into a new place. Oh, and now for the expansion draft. Yeah, give us your first round pick. We'll take PLD off your hands. Okay, we'll take this. Yeah, well, Jacob Chikrin, okay, you left him unprotected. This all looks like it was an expansion draft, but instead it was the end result of years and years of team building plus real honest-to-goodness trades. Like, they didn't do a give us a bunch of picks and we'll take PLD off your hands. They were like, all right, we'll do Kemper. And like, they negotiated a trade for Pierre-Luc Dubois without a GM.
And honestly,
I love it.
And honestly, for a team that traded for PLD and took the whole contract and didn't really get a sweetener, I don't hate the trade because, like, what else are the Washington Capitals going to do? Like, what else are you going to do?
And they're doing this without
path forward.
They're doing this. They're not mortgaging their future. If anything, they're like kind of mortgaging their presence because you could guess where the present is going to go. But they're like, fuck it, whatever. We're not like trading away our future first round picks. We'll be fucking fine. And the Pierre-Luc Dubois contract is a walking, we will not necessarily be fine sign, but they'll fucking figure it out. I love it. I love the Washington Capitals so much. If I loved them any more, they would be Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members. The most fun and exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats for a shot to win up to 100x your cash. Sean, I'm not really doing it with baseball. Are you doing it with baseball? I do it with WNBA is just my game now.
I haven't yet, really. I'm like literally just getting into baseball. Like yesterday was probably the third full baseball game that I've watched all year, and I've been to 2. So this, as I get settled into the summer, I'm gonna be prize picking on baseball.
Well, you know how we do. We try to 10x. We take big swings. Maybe I'll take smaller swings. I don't know. Cameron Brink is done for the season.
Choke up a little bit.
What am I?
Just choke up a little bit.
Yeah. Shorten your swing.
Yeah.
There was Mark Bertrand had a great rant the other day about good eye in baseball. And I was like, how did Pete and I never discuss this with our favorite baseball things? He was saying that good eye gets used at way too young an age. He said you should be 17. Or he said you should be a sophomore in high school before people can say good eye to you. Because if you're a kid and you take a ball, it just means that you just didn't swing.
Yeah,
that's all. It doesn't mean that, it just means that like you chose, I'm not swinging at this pitch before it was thrown, and you guessed right. It wasn't a good eye thing. But if you've got a good eye, you could take a look at demons, goblins, the whole 9.
You can use good eye if you're Australian because good eye, mate.
Good eye, mate. Yeah, well, people say that because it sounds like good day, mate. Is that why they do that? That's just dawning on me now. I never thought about that.
Yeah. Good eye, mate.
But in playing baseball, did you realize that?
What? That you're just like getting
That
credit for not doing your job?
I'm guessing they say it because it sounds like good day, mate.
Yes.
So I didn't know that. I always said it. Hey, good eye, mate. I just thought I was like, maybe this is like a pirate thing going on. I don't know. I played for the Mets myself.
Pirates are a baseball team. So
yep. I was on the Mets. I was on the Cubs. I was on the Twins. My best baseball days were on the Twins because there was a North and there was a South. And the North were the good teams, classic Massachusetts libs. North, good guys. South means you sucked at baseball. And there were 2 years of it. In the first year, like pretty much, unless you were awesome, you made the South. I made the South my first year, sucked because I sucked at baseball. Second year, I made the South again and was like one of the good players in the South. Wouldn't have had it any other way. It rocked. I was fucking taking pitches. I had a good eye, slugging doubles. We've lost your audio.
God damn it, stupid microphone. Stupid holding the goddamn microphone.
Yeah, that one shouldn't have buttons. They try to make it look like an SM7 and they put buttons on it. Don't put buttons on it.
Crazy. Yeah, but I mean, I think they assume people wouldn't be holding it like morons like me. But here we are. I was saying it's better to be a big fish in a small pond. You're a good player in the bad league, and that's fun.
Yeah, that's always been
better than being a shitty player or like a mid player in the good league.
Oh, dude, when people would a coach I'd only have it one time, but a coach sincerely said back up when I was walking up to the plate in the South.
Oh, yes.
That was never happening in the North. They were
That's such a good ego boost. That's like the biggest would probably ego boost you can have 5. As an athlete, as a child.
Back up. Watch out for this guy. Oh no, here comes trouble. I probably slugged a double.
I got a few move-ins when I was an athlete, and that's when I decided to quit baseball.
Yeah, I was more of a move-in.
I got lots of move-ins, but I was more because I was a speedster. I bunted a lot because I couldn't hit for shit.
I did bunt a lot. Yeah,
I loved bunting.
I walked and bunted a lot.
I liked bunting. I was just obsessed as a fielder with the hidden ball trick.
Oh my god!
I took up so much
time. I
remember
you saying this. Yeah,
I was like a little Ricky Henderson without any of like the actual hitting ability. I would just bunt and then steal and then run around the outfield.
Man, I'll tell you what. I made my first $10 deposit and received a $10 bonus instantly with Prize Picks. You remember the days when we did that. If you have the skills, you could play for a shot at turning your $10 into $1,000. Download the app today and use code WhatChaos for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code WhatChaos for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Also, if you want a good eye, you protect them with Shady Rays, because Shady Rays is the sunglasses company that you need to protect your good eyes. Get ready for the season ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. They have hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. They also have like a bunch of funky colors, so like if you're trying to match them with a hockey jersey, maybe your favorite team, they got them.
This is I famously, you can't get prescription Shady Rays, but I think this might be the summer of Pete summer of Pete. You said it also might be the summer of Sean gets contacts. So I'm gonna be. It makes it a lot more. I'm gonna just be rocking Shady Rays left and right.
Wow,
if that happens, I got to see if I'm more of an adult than I was when I was in high school and tried to get them, and I was a little baby about it and couldn't touch my eyes.
That's the biggest drawback to being to being like a glasses guy, because I thought about just becoming a full-time glasses guy, but then you're like, damn, I have to have prescription sunglasses all the time.
And you got to carry around 2 pairs of glasses, and you either have like a glasses case in your pocket, or you got a second pair of sunglasses hanging off your shirt, and you look like a little bit of a nerd. Can't have that.
Well, we love our Shady Rays. We love the sunglasses. We love the polarization. As Sean mentioned, you can get them in prescription. But I think the biggest part of the Shady Rays pitch is that if you lose or break your sunglasses, they will replace them for free. Every pair is backed by a lost or broken replacement policy. It's the most insane protection in all of eyewear. I don't understand how it works. I don't understand how that's profitable for Shady Rays, but they're doing it. And if you don't love your shades, you can exchange them for a new pair or return worry-free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back with personal and fast customer support. So exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code AC35 for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people at Shady Rays and use code AC35 for 35% off.
Amazing stuff. We would be remiss if we did not mention Matt Rempe, because it's just Matt Rempe. Matt Rempe is being trained by Georges Laraque. Unbelievable picture tweeted out by Georges Laraque, who added, "I'm training Matt Rempe and Terrell Bauer for hockey fighting this week in Edmonton at the Silent Ice Arena. If you thought Matt Rempe was a problem this year in the NHL, wait till you see him this coming season. ... Flame emoji, flame emoji." George, to respond to that, I did not think Matt Rempe was a problem in the NHL this season. I wonder if anybody thought he was a problem this season, but perhaps you're suggesting he's about to be a problem. I welcome it. Let Matt Rempe be a problem. He's going to be here and we're going to be all excited and talking about him anyway. Have him do more cool shit.
Yeah, I mean, I just, no disrespect to Georges Laraque. Like, I don't think he's the guy that I want training Matt Rempe for Matt Rempe's sustainability in the NHL. Like, I think Matt Rempe doesn't need a lot of lessons in fighting. I think he needs lessons in the other stuff. That's where he becomes a problem. But I mean, I'm for it. Like, I love Matt Rempe. I love Matt Rempe's presence. I want him to stick around, which means that he either has to take care of himself much better, and he also has to learn to play hockey a little bit better. Those things I'm hoping come in time, but I do love Matt Rempe, and I love Matt Rempe's personality. Like, Matt Rempe is just a funny ass dude, and I hope that he sticks around. And I just really like him spreading his wings a little bit.
He's the tallest person I've ever considered cute. He's like a fucking, he's just a straight up cutie pie. He's an absolute goofball, talks like a silly Billy, and he's very tall and can fight. Is very tall and can fight useful in the NHL right now? Who's to say? I am typically saying no, but he's gonna be here. When the Rangers lost game 1, right? Did they lose game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final? I believe they did. I could be wrong. They lost game
like
1 of some series. And I remember watching SportsCenter, and Linda Cohn was like, "We'll have to see how the Rangers respond. Will they put Matt Rempe in the lineup?" And I was like, Linda Cohn, you've forgotten more about hockey than I will ever know. And the first thing a hockey person and a Rangers person is saying in the playoffs is, what about Matt Rempe? This guy is top of mind, whether he's good, bad, or ugly. We just can't get enough of him. So when I do see this picture of Georges Laraque training him and being like, I'm teaching him how to be really good, I'm like, cool. We were going to get some Matt Rempe thing anyway. So at least it's a Georges Laraque thing, who is endlessly entertaining to me. He's amazing on Oilers Now with our friend Bob Stauffer. So sure, I'll take this, other than like Matt Rempe was a Build-A-Bear today. Although I'll take that as well.
I would definitely take Matt Rempe and Georges Laraque at a Build-A-Bear, just like after they fight each other on the ice, going to Build-A-Bear. to smooth things over and to like calm their nerves a little bit. Oh yeah.
I was talking to a friend recently, and they were asking about what we're doing in the summer, and I was like, well, we got moving parts, but we're still doing episodes, and I'm going to make things whenever I've kind of got time to churn it out. And he was like, well, like summer is also a great, like this is like perfect opportunity to be a test kitchen. Just get your weirdest stuff out and see if it connects, if it lands, whatever, and then you can apply that stuff for the regular season, which like you don't got to tell me that twice. Next summer, we do Laraque and Rempe at Build-A-Bear. And when they're like, why? Be like, because it's fucking summer.
I love
What else
Build-A-Bear
are you
because
doing?
they force you. It doesn't matter if you're like the biggest enforcer in NHL history. They're going to force you to like kiss the heart and make a wish and give it a little message and stuff like that. Like they do not care at Build-A-Bear. They are the most hard line, like, we have fucking rules here. You're gonna give your fucking bear a message and warm the heart between your hands. It's crazy. Like I went one time with my sister to get one for my mom in college. Like I was a grown ass man, and they were like, make a wish. Like tell it how much you love it. And I was like, I guess. And they just like they were gonna sit there all day if that's what it took.
Okay, we're doing Build-A-Bear with somebody.
Nobody's
That was
above
such
it.
a good sales pitch.
Nobody's above it.
That you made it
At
sound
all.
like a cult. I was like, now I actually like. I've never stepped foot in there before. Now I gotta go.
I respect the hell out of it.
First of all, this is not the podcast's first run-in with Build-A-Bear. I don't know if you remember, there was a Build-A-Bear station at
the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl. They were doing Build-A-Bears inside that gigantic ass pro shop,
And they were trying to pitch us on it.
I don't know if it didn't make the Pro Shop Wars, but if it didn't, that's bad. That's a bad job by us. We should have included that there was that we needed to include that there was an actual Build-A-Bear station inside the Super Bowl Pro Shop, and like they were trying to pitch us on it. And Sean's right, like they are some pushy motherfuckers, and they have hard lines, and nobody is above kissing that heart and putting that Build-A-Bear into the world in proper etiquette. So I think Matt Rempe would do it, and I think Matt Rempe would be awesome at it, and I think he would be ecstatic to do it.
Yeah, we got to get on the horn with our salespeople. Although, no, you won't do it. Rangers don't let their guys do podcasts.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
God.
Not a podcast, just trip to Build-A-Bear.
That's true.
Yeah,
it's
true.
like
Off the record.
Oh.
Off the record trip to Build-A-Bear.
Yes, exactly.
Like, oh, Matt Rempe, what are you doing here?
It's off the record. No cameras, nothing rolling, and then we just tell you about it later. We can do it off the record. We'll just take notes, and then we'll put up something later saying that we did it. And if you don't want to believe that we did it, whatever. But we wouldn't fucking lie to you. I have a star to give out, a big star to give out to one Will Smith of the San Jose Sharks. Sean, do you have the picture of Will Smith's uniform? He'll have it in a second. Whatever. This will be that. Will Smith wearing number 2 looks amazing. And I saw some stuff about like you don't see a lot of forwards wearing number 2. It falls so nice on the Sharks jersey. Take a look at it there. Unbelievable behavior. I am so in on the Sharks this season, even though they're not going to be good. But I love their guys, and I love a number 2, a clean, crisp number 2 on that Sharks jersey.
It's going to take a while to get used to. I'll say that. People are right. You don't often see forwards wearing number 2 unless it's Brendan Smith. I saw somebody responding like, what was the last time a forward wore number 2? And somebody was like Brendan Smith under Lindy Ruff. And
Smiths
I thought
together.
that was funny. Yeah, that's true. So like it's going to take a while to get used to, but we both love when a player chooses a number that's like a little weird and is like, I'm about to make this my own. Sometimes
PLD.
It works. Sometimes you're PLD.
No, PLD, that was cool. It got him a cool trade.
Got him a cool trade. Yeah, I like it. Shout out to Will Smith for having the balls to make that move. And Will Smith is going to rock. He is going to rock so hard. I know Macklin Celebrini is the new kid in town, even though they're technically both the new kids in town. But I think that Will Smith is gonna rock some people's socks off this year, and I'm very excited to see him play in San Jose.
Lastly, I'll say on the subject of Pacific teams teams we like, players we like. You see these Frank Vatrano trade rumors popping up here and then there, saying, hey, does anybody go out and still grab Frank Vatrano this offseason? I know where I want Frank Vatrano to go. And that
Nowhere.
is not a fucking place. Nowhere. You stay. Speaking of Linda Cohn, she was rocking. They sent her one of the new jerseys, which we love those jerseys so much. They sent her a Vatrano jersey. It looks so good, so nice. Can't wait to get one on the set. I want Frank. They've got the money and they've got the young guys, because guys are just going to be on entry-level contracts forever there as they keep coming in. Just keep him, extend him, let him be there when shit really starts to pop for the Ducks, because I don't know if it's going to be this season, but just hang on, baby. Shit's going to pop at some point, and I need my guy to be there for it.
I mean, there are two places that I want him: Anaheim and Boston. Like, if he comes back
Anaheim
home,
in my apartment,
I will be
hanging out.
If he comes back home, I will be thrilled. I'm not going to pretend like if the Bruins landed Frank Vatrano, like I wouldn't be like, oh, the poor Ducks. I'd be like, fuck yeah, he's here and he's ours. And you mentioned it earlier. Bruins kind of weak on the wing. Like,
they could use. Oh boy, could they use them?
Frank Vatrano. So
You know who could also?
I would love it.
A goal scoring wing.
Shut up.
Oh no! I would say if he went to Buffalo, it wouldn't be a lateral move. It would be a little step down for me. But I do like the Sabres are one of our teams. What's that?
A step down in what regard? The Sabres are better than the Ducks.
Sabres are better than the Ducks.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
have a
like,
better
make them
chance of
better.
making
I
the
mean, make them
playoffs.
significantly better.
I mean, like a step down for me.
Just vibes.
Yes,
Fair.
right.
That's
Vibes
fair.
wise, you're probably missing the playoffs either way. Although I'm not ruling out. Next week we're going to talk about some kind of wild cardy sort of things. I'm not totally killing the Sabres in that regard, but I want him staying with the Ducks, and I want him re-signing with the Ducks, and I just see a bright future there. And I think that he's at a point in his career where he could both get paid there and continue to be really good and help them take the next step. Don't go anywhere, Frank, please. Not that it's his say for a trade,
like,
but
I was planning on getting a Frank Vatrano Ducks jersey. Like, who do I get if it's not Frank?
oh,
Like, I don't know who else I would get. Do I get a Cutter Gauthier? Like,
oh no,
do I
there
get
are so many Ducks.
Leo
So I was
Carlson?
hoping that I would think that I would get the Frank and you would get somebody else, but the somebody else options are so good. Like, I feel borderline like I can't get some of the cool options because I just so obviously have to get Frank. You're in a good position.
That's how I feel. I feel like
I feel
no,
more
I
tethered.
feel like I obviously have to get Frank.
Oh no, I think that you could be more worldly. I'd say that I'm more
No, I think I have to get Frank.
stuck with Frank.
Stuck with Frank?
Yeah, I'm tethered to him. I can't. If I got a Ducks jersey and it wasn't Frank, people would be like, "Frank, you seeing this?"
Get orange, one get white.
I feel like you can.
Oh, true.
True. I want the orange one though.
Yeah, I want the orange.
I feel like
one.
you. Fuck, we're in a position here. I feel like you could get Trevor Zegras.
Oh, that's true. It's a good option. I mean, so here's the thing. I think that I think that this will be like when we drafted kids and I traded you my nephew.
Yes.
I think that I would get first dibs at Frank, but I could give that up. I could forfeit that to you in exchange for future considerations. Like if something else pops up, say there's like a new Piss jersey or something where I could be like, I get to get this one because I let you get Frank.
Damn, I like this idea.
I would make that trade too.
I don't know if I would make that trade. Yeah, so like I think
that you wearing the Frank jersey would look really good. I think 77 would fall on you nicely.
Yeah, and 77 is like my favorite hockey number.
It's slowly becoming one of mine because of John Jason Paterka.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'll think about this
trade
if you're formally tabling it.
We'll think about this. You're also getting a White Skinner jersey.
I'm also potentially getting a rental. Like, Frank may not be in Anaheim for the long haul. So I would have to think about whether I want to make that trade for a rental.
Brother, I got a JVR Bruins jersey. We fucking party over here, okay?
Yeah, but JVR's your like entire personality. Also, it's kind of wild that JVR has not found a new home yet. Like, he's a useful player.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. He's got every year more and more good players end up having to go the PTO route. So wouldn't shock me, but he's gonna be good and score 15 goals next season for somebody. So just fucking sign him now.
We're gonna talk about some other teams next week on next week's episode, but like, it is wild that Matt Duchene did not get another contract, like a big contract.
I was like, he got another contract.
1 year, $3 million, like another like one-off contract after the year that he had in Dallas. I was very surprised by that, but we'll talk about the Stars like and some more teams next week.
Yeah. It's like the only good thing that happened to the Stars. Let's do a quick slate grade. What is everybody going to do the rest of the day? Sean?
I got to work.
My friend is still in town, so
nice.
I got to take him to the airport at some point.
I'm going sailing.
Nice.
Love it.
Fucking jealous.
I've just barely been able to get back out blading because of my fucking death. What'd you say, Pete?
I said my summer like hasn't even started yet, and that's a little disappointing. So hopefully by the time we talk to you next week, I'll be free and in the clear. Summer
and by free and in the clear, you mean deep in the depths of NCAA football 25.
Oh,
because
buddy,
that will be out by
that's
next episode.
all I'm doing for like a month.
Trust.
Next week, famously, Sean will have had a birthday.
True. 5 days from now.
Happy birthday, Sean.
Not my birthday, but thank you.
Thank you, Eli. Yes. So we'll be back with you next week. Got a bunch of stuff we're excited to do. Great to talk to you boys. Great to talk to everybody. It's kind of fun doing it without the chat. I won't lie. I miss it. I want to keep peeking over and seeing the love of your life or Emily saying something absolutely unhinged, but it's the summer. Summer ups make me feel fine. We will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
We all silly like the mayor.